Hey guys, welcome to Nico Play. This is another episode of Love, Money, Rock and Roll, and Catherine and Himitsu again. They together in kitchen and they screaming at each other. And Nico-kun just woke up and he has no clue what he does. All he wants is Michael Kuyosoki be with him because we do know that Nico loves boys. Okay, Catherine and Himitsu were standing in the middle of the room and going to each other at max volume. You could at least put some clothes on. Katya smirked. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Nico, he doesn't care. He's just like, whatever, guys. I replied automatically and returned to my bedroom. Nico-kun! Himitsu's angry voice reached me. I quickly put on my shirt and pants and returned to the battlefield. Nico-kun, what is she doing here early in the morning too? Nothing really. You don't have to make excuses to her. I'll show you excuses. Oh, hey, fight. Let's fight, okay. That's a good print screen. Oh, he's holding her, damn. Himitsu was about to throw herself at Catherine and I had to grab her by the arms. It's your own fault. Nico-kun, let me go. I will when you calm down. How can I calm down when she... Himitsu was choking on her own fury and it was scaring me. I couldn't remember ever seeing her like this. Still smiling, bitch? Wow. She kept trying to break free, baring her teeth and Catherine like an animal. How does it feel to be such an unfeeling piece of shit, huh? No idea, how does it? You take what you haven't earned, what you don't deserve. Sunshine, that's enough. Don't call me that. Himitsu choked on her anger. Nico-kun, tell me just one thing. Did you two fuck again? I don't think so we ever fuck, actually. I'm pretty sure we never did. What if we did? Wait, Catherine, don't lie. Nico-kun has nothing between his legs. I'm not talking to you. No, we didn't. My voice was trembling and I couldn't understand why. After all, I was telling the truth. Catherine kept smirking my uncertainty, seeming to entertain her even more. Nico-kun, stop lying! I'm not, I finally declared with confidence. But even if nothing happened between Catherine and me, was Himitsu going to believe it? And what was I supposed to do? I decided I was going to spy on her father, and he had stated clearly yesterday that he didn't want to see Himitsu around me. Nico-kun, I came here just for you, even after my dad warned me not to talk to you anymore. Exactly. She couldn't just throw me out of her life and so would keep sinking ever deeper into my problems and jeopardize herself more and more. I hope that we would talk and make up, that you would understand. She stopped fighting me but was still breathing heavily. But as soon as I left you alone, you immediately ran to her. So that's all your promises and words of love and worth. Worth. Words of love? Catherine looked if she were in the audience at the comedy show. Has he gotten better at phrasing those in the past couple years, I wonder? Shut up, bitch! It's all because of you! If you were never in our lives! But I am in his life, and moreover, I never lied to Nick. You, oh, she's crying finally. Himitsu burst into deep, dull sobs, and I finally reached her. Now, overwhelmed by emotion, she might do something stupid and harm not only me, but also herself. For example, she could tell her father something she shouldn't. So it would be better if we didn't communicate any longer. Himitsu, you need to calm down. Go home. I said quietly. What? Mihon, what about her? Go home, Himitsu. I repeated as quietly as before. Nico-kun! She pleaded, but I just kept staring at the floor without saying a word. So that's how it is. She burst into tears and ran away. Okay, finally she fucking left. If you need my opinion, I'd say you did the right thing. How exactly did she come if I locked all the doors from inside at night? I opened the door for her. Catherine replied calmly. A lump of burning resentment swelled in my throat. So you set the whole thing up, I said through clenched teeth. Even if I did, what does it change? Catherine frowned and gave me a serious look. Oh, come on. Before you unleash your righteousness, wrath. Let me tell you something about your innocent Himitsu. At the time, I found it hard to tell you everything right away, so I decided to ask for her advice first. Catherine pursed her lips and looked away. If I only knew she was such a... whatever. She pulled herself together and continued. Mom had told me that we had to leave, and of course I was glad and happy, except there was you. My heart started to beat faster. I just didn't have a choice, understand? Even if I wanted to stay. I simply needed to tell you everything, but you know, I'm not good at this type of stuff, so I had wanted to discuss it with her, with the person who knows you best. And what did I get in return? Well, what? Don't act like you don't understand. You started this, be so kind to see it to the end. That's what she was waiting for. If I hadn't left that time, she wouldn't found another excuse. So all of this is your revenge? Katya turned to me abruptly and made me feel guilty with a single look. She doesn't deserve the honor. I just wanted to show you her real face. I hadn't expected such frankness from Catherine, especially after such a long time. But at the same time, I still couldn't figure out what Himitsu had to say to her. I understand that you don't have the best relationship with her. Maybe things weren't great back then either, but you had to have expected this kind of reaction. Just because you are also a girl and know all this on a much more sophisticated level than me. So you really don't understand? Apparently not. Yeah, of course, what did I even expect? I don't know what you're getting at, but it doesn't excuse you in the slightest. Our relationship is worse than ever anyway. I shouldn't have known. I grasped my hat and trashed back and forth. I'm just like trashing. Leave, please. No, now you're kicking me out too. Just leave. I didn't raise my voice, but it was enough for Catherine. Yeah, bye. I have my left hand and Kuyusoki and Michael. She slowly walked to the hall and closed the front door behind her demonstratively slowly. Good job. I don't know what it feels like being on a desert island, but I think in a way it may be easier than being a social outcast. At least the islander knows that people ignore him not for their own reasons, but because there just isn't anyone around for hundreds or even thousands of kilometers or miles. Who feels more hungry, the person in a prison or the person forced to observe a luxurious banquet? I don't think I was really upset with Catherine. Surprised, disappointed, but not upset. Unfortunately, something like that was to be expected of her, and by doing this, she was pushing the love for that Katya further and further out of my heart. And I was just too tired. However, her words still rang clear in my mind. What exactly had happened between them back then? Catherine wouldn't get mad over nothing, and if she hated Himitsu that much, was Katya even capable of genuine hatred? What had to have happened to evoke such strong, baleful emotion in her? I just couldn't imagine Himitsu doing something worthy of it. While thinking about all this, I didn't even notice how I got to school by the time the second class started. Wow, surprisingly, it's already second class. Nice. If you're gonna go even more slower, bro, you can come to the third or fourth class, or till the time you arrive at school. That's it, the school is ended. Like, okay, bye guys, see you tomorrow, you know. In reality, I had absolutely no reason to be here, but it wasn't any worse than any other place. Yeah, just to hang out to school, damn. I wish I could go to school like this, like just fucking hanging around, you know. Do I want to go to school? Do I not want to go to school? That's fucking miracle. And this wasn't even about Irina. Did her threats really matter after my talk with Himitsu's father? And what really did matter? What did I have left in my life? Naturally, Catherine wasn't at school. I wouldn't be surprised if Himitsu skipped classes as well. I was sitting and looking out the window unplugged from the rest of the world. The strong autumn wind was mercilessly shaking the trees in the schoolyard, but with the last bits of strength they resisted, not giving up their red and yellow foliage to it. Again, author is adding unnecessary words. It wouldn't last long. However, by nature's will, they would become naked and helpless before the first frost and the coming cold. But the wind didn't need those old leaves. Blowing is its destiny, it can't exist otherwise. Perhaps Catherine's destiny was to wreck my life? That's my boy. Michael approached me during a break. God? Again? He's not like a god for sure, but okay, a god. It was hard to guess from his facial expression what he was going to talk about, but I got preliminarily tense. Let's just not go over the same thing again. I just thought that you'd had some time to think. His persistence was inviolable, but now in particular this behavior was frankly inappropriate, at least not here for everyone to see. Or was he deliberately trying to make me mad? I already thought it through. Why there's like haven't had, then and them, like thought it through, like, like the translator. I'm pretty sure that's the translator actually. You know, or maybe the author himself. I don't know who the author is. I'm pretty sure he's Russian, like 100% he's Russian. But the translator is like, wow. I told you everything. We discussed it only a couple of days ago. Yes, but I still haven't gotten a clear answer from you. A clear answer? It should be question mark or exclamation. I smirked and flung my hand in the air. The usual level of noise in the classroom became noticeable lower. Oh my god. Do you want a piece of advice? I'll give you one for free today. Run away from her without looking back. Otherwise, she'll ruin your life same as she ruined mine. I was stepping on the same rake again. Now, not only was Michael listening to me, but the entire class. You know, sometimes I think that I reloaded fucking the same file. Like seriously, like I'm playing, then boom, like 10 hours back. Playing, boom, like 5 hours back. Like this scene with Michael, it's already the second time. It's crazy. It's just like, wow. Except I couldn't care less. Shall I take that as an affirmative answer? Are we doing math here? Affirmative, negative? What's the fucking difference? You know what? If you need her so much, take her. I said and quickly walked out of the classroom. The nastiest thing was, and I scolded myself for it without end, that I couldn't even really get mad at Catherine, even though I had every right to. Any normal person would. No, and again, no. Good afternoon, senpai. Someone from a junior grade greeted me politely. How did he know me and why did he talk to me at all? Didn't everyone in the school know that Nikolai Anokin is a dangerous sociopath? I passed by Himitsu's classroom and looked inside for a moment, but there was no one behind her desk. Fair enough. Afraid of running into Saya-chan, I quickly ran up to the stairs, taking them two at a time, and as I could be expected, found myself on the roof. By the way, where's the queen of the school? That rock and roll bitch? Like, where is she? Remember, guys, I already forgot about her. That spilled the orange juice on us? Somebody was sitting on the bench and was about to think that it was Kagome, but it wasn't her. Oh my god! Fuck, damn! I swear I didn't know that. I swear, guys, I didn't know. The girl was holding back her long blonde hair as it floated in the wind like a ship's sail in an Alexander Green novel. I recognized Allie, but even though I couldn't see her face, I thought she seemed sad, looking into the distance, at the massive city from the school's roof, like you'd look into the horizon of the ocean expecting the return of a beloved. I wondered if she had a boyfriend. I drove these foolish thoughts away and approached the uncrowned queen of the school. Hi, I hope I'm not intruding. She raised her head and looked at me surprised. Hoodlum-kun? Hoodlum. Raymond? Kobayashi-san. I put a semblance of sarcastic smirk on my face. Actually, my name is Nick. I see. Allie looked upset and was behaving far less energetically than usual. Sorry if I'm prying. Did something happen? Nothing important, just some family problems. Oh, I understand. Actually, no, I don't. Lol. That's actually a good joke. I did immediately and sat down next to her, keeping the distance allowed by decency. I'm alone, I live alone. Is that so? She clearly wasn't in the mood for a chat. By the way, I was at your concert. You play really well. Finally, Ellie brightened up and cast a glance in my direction. Yeah, right, I saw you. You were staring at me the entire concert. You wouldn't let me play. I was there by accident. I just swing by the club on occasion. And what a lucky coincidence that we were playing there at that time. Yes, that was. Just a coincidence. I'll have you know, it happens. Not everything in the world revolves around you and your family. The last part was clearly too much, and Ellie smiled sadly and looked away. Yeah, sure, you're right. It's just, you know. She started by sighing heavily and went silent. No, you don't. Explain then. Here we go again. Sorry, but I really don't feel like it. How many times can you explain the same thing? Would taking really change anything? What an interesting observation. I was constantly boiling in a cauldron filled with painful introspections and regular fights with Himitsu and Catherine. Well, you have your music to distract you. Yeah, for now. Oh, the game saved? Why the fuck the game saved? I think you should keep doing it. You clearly have a talent. I was staring at the vapor trail left by a plane and added wistfully. You know, I even envy you in a sense. Not because of all the school queen and heiress of the Kobayashi Empire stuff, but because you have something of your own. Something that you do well and something you want to pursue. A calling, I guess, a life goal. I'm not really good at saying this stuff, sorry. Finally, I looked at Ellie. She lowered her hat and blushed a bit. Everything sounds so easy if I just listen to you. Well, I don't know if it's easy or not. I'm just judging your situation from the perspective of a layperson. So to say, who has nothing like that in his life? Maybe that's for the better. Ellie jumped off the bench, shaking her head, golden hair flying side by side, the faint smell of perfume reaching my nose. It took a considerable effort to hide my embarrassment from this girl. Well, okay, hoodlum Nick-kun. See you later. Bye. I responded timidly and remained in my place. I don't know whether Kobayashi-san had a real crown, but once a long time ago I had given one to a little girl, a neighbor of mine. I couldn't get used to the fact that the school year in Japan starts in spring. Okay. After graduating from the primary school at the embassy, I went to a normal secondary school with normal children. Maybe a bit of an elite one. From childhood, Himitsu wanted to be in the same class as me, but her poor health hadn't allowed that. But we still ended up in the same school. She was just a grade lower. Just a grade lower, okay. She then skipped spring and summer semesters due to illness and managed to go to school with me only in autumn. It must be the end of September as well. Oh my god, so much unnecessary things. Okay, just in case another preview. Like just 1 second, guys. 1 second. Wait, how can I... Okay, finally. Okay, that's the preview. That's the preview. Looks... Actually, why it's not full screen? Oh my god. Oh my god, it was not full screen. Jesus, Maka Jesus. Sorry, guys. Okay, now we're good. Alright. Nichan! Nichan is an endearing diminutive informal way to address an older brother or a close friend. Himitsu was pulling at my sleeve. I ask you not to call me that anymore, especially at school, I said sternly. Okay. She replied sadly and lowered her head. Well, their voices has to be different, right? It was years ago, I hope. We are adults now, at least I am. So what should I call you then? I don't know. I thought for a second. This question was an important one for a child. I have a classmate, Kuyosoki. I'll introduce you. He calls me Nick. Nico! Japanese language uses syllabary, so words usually end on a vowel. Aha! Okay, that's actually cool. Himitsu uttered in the Japanese style. No way, that sounds like the name of a mafia boss. Don Nico. Okay, that's so good. She laughed. Why she is laughing if it's not funny? You come to me with a request, but you don't ask with respect. You don't even think to use Keigo. Oh, it's a joke. Okay, Himitsu laughed even harder. Nico dono! Dono is a Japanese honorific. It is similar to addressing someone as Your Grace. Well, no need to be that formal. I even grew a bit embarrassed. Then, the stress of heavy thinking found reflection on her childish face. Niko-kun? She suggested timidly. I paused. Should do for now. Well, then you should also call me something like something like that. Like what? Ohimitsu-sama. Oh my god, that's too long. Play on words with Ojo-sama princess. No, you're not fucking princess. I listen and obey my mistress Ohimitsu-sama. That. We were approaching the school, and more I noticed Himitsu's little shoulders tremble. She was clearly very nervous, but was trying not to show it. A yellow leaf fell at my feet, then another one, and another, and another. I started to pick them up. Niko-kun, she said slowly, as she was trying to taste the new word. What are you doing? You'll see soon. When I gathered enough leaves, I took a fishing line out of my bag and began to string the leaves on it. You can find anything in a little rascal's bag, as sometimes things weirder than a fishing line. When I finished, the resulting composition mostly resembled a washing line with colorful rags hung on it. Every princess should have a crown. I barely managed to mount this little something on Himitsu's head. The leaves stubbornly refused to stand vertically and, following the laws of physics, were falling, dropping over her head. No wonder she has no friends, he has no friends, because they're like wearing a crown from the leaves. They coming to high school. It's fucking high school. It's not fucking elementary school. In the end, Himitsu resembled a bald old man with hair only remaining on her temples, nape as also forehead. Oh, it's so cute! Himitsu sang, opened her bag and took a little mirror out of it. Are you sure you want to see this? I said in a theatrically serious voice and slowly took a few steps aside. She looked at herself in the mirror attentively and smiled. Smiled so cutely that for a moment it seemed that and the crown made of leaves shone with all the colors of a golden autumn. I got embarrassed, and not because I was seeing a beautiful girl, which had happened to me before, but because that girl suddenly turned out to be Himitsu. Alright, let's go. I habitually took her by the hand and quickly walked to the school. Niko-kun, she called to me in a more confident voice. And if someone asks, you'll say that you're my sister, got it? My juvenile maximalism was still there after all. Niko-kun. And we have different surnames because you were adopted. Or I was, whatever. And that's why we don't look alike. Niko-kun. Fucking stop it. But that's only if someone asks, otherwise we don't even know each other at all. And you're great lower than me. If you ask me, I don't understand all this division at all. Nichan! Himitsu said loudly at last. What? She pointedly looked at outlatched hands. Ah, yeah. I instantly released her hand and felt blood rush to my face. It's just a habit. A habit that we should ditch too. You're taking this so seriously, she giggled. It's because it's vital to start off on the right foot. Understood, Himitsu said solemnly and pounded. And take this mess out of your head already, finally, thank you. She carefully removed the crown and put it in her bag. Now the fucking bag gonna be dirty. You could just throw it away. I muttered. Why? It'll be a reminder that I'm princess and you're my prince. Are you starting this again? I pinched her side hard. Ouch! Nick! Nick! Kuyosaki's merry greeting reached us from afar. Alright, here comes. ... we never gonna see young Kuyosaki when he was even more fatter. That crown must have long dried out and turned to dust, although I was sure that Himitsu kept it somewhere in a wardrobe for a long time after. It can sometimes seem that entire segments of life, hours, days, years, are erased from memory, but if you really try, you can always recall them. I sat on the roof for about an hour, reminiscing, oh my god, Or perhaps that's merely how it seemed to me, because the hour hand was stubbornly approaching 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My stomach growled, and I returned to sinful earth, now with more than just my thoughts. It was too late to go to the canteen, and unfortunately my funds were quite limited, so I returned to classroom, quickly packed up my bag, and ignoring Kuyosoki left school. Yeah, fuck friends. On the way home, I was thinking about my and Himitsu's childhood. She probably wasn't a real fairy tale princess to me. It felt more like me being Peter Pan and her Wendy. Wendy returned to the real world, and I forever remained in Neverland, where children don't grow up. Oh my god, I thought it's on my backyard. Lost in thought, I was almost run over by a car. Damn, I thought he's gonna fucking get into hospital and die. Oh. The old empty house welcomed me coldly as usual, with its silence broken only by the creaks of floorboards, thus dancing in the sunlight that reached the kitchen from the garden, and by now familiar atmosphere of loneliness. I didn't expect Himitsu to come today, didn't hope for her tasty cooking, but I was starving, having not had lunch or even breakfast, or I'm not eating for 2 or 3 days. Yes, by the way, he didn't eat anything. Again. Maybe he's doing yoga, like in India. I heard they can, well, I'm not sure if they're not drinking, but they can remain without food like a month or something. Luckily, there was a lot left after Catherine's visit. ... The bartender would call the thing I cooked Kolya's stew or Kalyan chowder, as the abundance of soy sauce made the dish pretty watery. Not that I cared, at least it was edible. After washing the dishes, I turned the TV on and pointlessly stared at the screen. All of my thoughts were focused on Himitsu. I seemed to have forgotten Catherine completely, and when I did remember her, I felt disgust. I didn't know what she blamed Himitsu for, but Himitsu had the full right to blame her for the situation we found ourselves in. I recalled more and more memories of our childhood, and the events that happened relatively recently. I replayed these memories in my mind fondly, studying each of them for a good while, then going to the next. I guess that was how projectionists rotated the handles of their projectors, carefully trying not to damage the film. It's not projectors, you fucking idiot, it's film mechanic. The mechanists. Right. Google it. But then the movies would come to an end and give way to harsh reality. In the silence of the house, I could clearly hear a car drive into Himitsu's yard. Ryusoki-san seemed to have come home early. Actually, it was none of my business. Not anymore. I felt a lump in my throat. Too much connected as for our relationship to be completely broken in a single moment. Again, completely broken. Again, typo. Even if for good reason. And it wasn't only the fact that we grew up together and that Himitsu loved me. Not only the serious matters. The little things that made up our daily life were equally important. Even the fights and grievances. Grievances. The tears and sorrow. The diseases and hardships. It was important that we had gone through all that together, hand in hand. And I could never imagine that one day Himitsu wouldn't be around. For her, it was love, a self-explanatory feeling. I had always considered it friendship, but the past weeks had turned it all upside down. I heard voices coming from outside. I couldn't understand anything, but it was clearly Ryusoki-san talking loudly, as if he were having an argument with someone. Then I heard the shrieking wheels of a leaving car. I couldn't remember Himitsu's mother at all, but I hoped that Himitsu inherited her personality and not her father's. It was weird, but the whole day I had barely thought about Ryusoki-san's threats after all. I was the one who screwed everything up. Of course, Catherine had helped, but it was in my power not to allow her to enter my house, or at least kick her out in the evening and not let her stay overnight. Suddenly, I felt painfully lonely. There are several kinds of loneliness, and the one I was experiencing was the nastiest. It was the loneliest I brought on myself. Of course, I could call Kuyosoki, but I was a bit ashamed since I've been ignoring him a lot these days. and I couldn't even think of calling Michael. Who else did I have left? Himitsu? Catherine? No thanks, I already called her enough to make me want to vomit. I jumped off the chair and started walking around the kitchen in circles. The evening was slowly coming, and I desperately wanted for this day to end. I just physically couldn't stand being alone with my thoughts, so I watched some clothes, vacuumed the entire house, wiped it off dust, wardrobes, went through boxes, cleaned the kitchen, and took a shower. Wow, finally he did something useful in those 15 hours. I finished almost at midnight and exhausted, fell straight in bed. I felt a bit dizzy and my entire body was taking my pleasant fatigue. How did Himitsu even handle this on a daily basis? Because she's fucking works and you fucking lazy ass bastard. She should have become an athlete. I recalled Himitsu's slim body and got noticeably aroused. My brain was pierced by a sudden thought. I wanted her. I wanted her as a woman. Yes, his little buddy from down below started to move. Not only sexually like I had always wanted Catherine, but entirely and undividedly. I didn't want to give her to anybody or let her go anywhere. Such a pity that it was too late. I rolled over and covered my head with a pillow. You don't know what you got until you lose it. Was that it, this saying? Even though I had spent almost my entire life in Japan, I still felt like a Russian, with all the pros and cons. I guess I never adapted fully. Like, how? What does it mean? Like, to be fucking Russian and to have women? Like, other nationalities, they don't want women? Or what he's trying to say? Like, it's stupid. But then why did I always feel so good with Himitsu? She was much more Japanese than Russian. And at the same time, I was struggling with Catherine and Michael, people with inherently European mentality. It was most likely about the upbringing, not the place of origin. Applied dialects at 1 in the morning, that was so typical of me. No, seriously, I wouldn't have enrolled in the philosophical faculty of the University of Tokyo if they accepted me. And if I had the money. I felt so pathetic that even made me laugh. After the laugh came the tears. I couldn't even remember the last time I cried. And after that, heavy, as if delirious oblivion. Maybe he gonna kill himself. Oh my god, please do something to yourself. Just let's finish this game, please. Guys, if you want, or if somebody did that, count in the comments how many times already bagged this game to end. I don't know, maybe like 10 times at least already. If not 100. I was woken up by the officious ring of my alarm clock, but I immediately made the difficult decision to keep the sleeping and turn it off with a single accurate hit, like BAM! Irina's recommendations regarding maintaining my normal lifestyle didn't bother me anymore, and it was silly to expect Himitsu to come. Yesterday the stress returned right away, making my head feel as if it were swelling up like the inner tube of an old tire. That. I woke up again at 11 o'clock, and as luck would have it, I felt rested and refreshed. I was always extremely annoyed by this kind of contrast between mental and physical conditions. You want to hang yourself but can run a marathon. You cannot run a marathon, trust me. After forcing myself to take a shower, I walked to the kitchen. It turned out that Catherine and I hadn't bought as much food as I thought. It was more or less just enough for breakfast. Over and over I kept thinking about how Himitsu wouldn't come anymore, she wouldn't bring food or make delicious dinner. Finally, yes, good job Himitsu, good job, never ever come back. Never ever come back to this fucker. Oh boy. Then it was time at 18 years old to learn how to take care of myself. I didn't know if I had really reconciled myself with the loss of Himitsu, but I needed to move on somehow. Besides, it would be great if I could buy some new plates to replace the ones she had broken. I wish she can break your head, you know. The sunshine was friendly but already autumn-appropriate cold, which didn't stop the people on the street from smiling and looking wonderfully happy. Here was a child with his mom laughing and holding a balloon string in his little fist. If I had 100 of those, I would hang myself with them and then fly over Tokyo for the sake of the world's entertainment. When you feel bad, others always seem to be doing much better than you. Half an hour later, I reached the office of my bank to withdraw some money. Sometimes I wish to have been born earlier and participated in the student strikes in the 60s to cast off the chains of capitalism in righteous anger together with my comrades. Oh my god, this fucking stupid Soviet Union communism shit, like, I'm so over it. Like, in the beginning it was funny, you know, kind of, Japanese student, you know, from Soviet Union, but now it's not funny. It's already, what's the episode right now? The 16th one? It's fucking not funny. But then almost every month I would come here and, with my head lowered, wait for a friendly clerk in a window to give me the money I needed to live. That's how the noble intentions of another young man were broken against the harsh cliffs of reality. ... Today, however, it seemed like the entire world was against me. The nameless clerk in his grey suit with a theatrically concerned expression informed me that my bank account had been blocked. Woohoo! Yes, it had been blocked! Yes, finally! Oh my god, I feel this game gonna end soon! I argued with him for a good half an hour, raised my voice, even shouted. It was all pointless. I was never given a reason why. It even took the help of the guards to get me out of the bank. Yes! Finally, the justice will prevail. Finally, the fucking alcoholic, the women's abuser, the lazy schoolboy, low grader, like horrible personality, just sociopath, everything. Finally, he got punished. Finally. I sat down on the bench outside and tried to catch my breath. One thing was clear. It was no coincidence or accident. Coincidences like this simply didn't exist. The KGB? Kobayashi Corporation? Japanese intelligence? Himitsu's father? When it rains, it pours. Or to be more precise, when it seems that things can get worse, life will always surprise you. I didn't know what to do now. I didn't even want to think about it. Surprisingly, I had never been troubled by the thought of what I do when I run out of money. Or to be exact, I had only thought about it in abstract philosophical context. Like I would go to work. Maybe become a shop assistant, get another job where they don't require a degree. However, I never believed that it would really happen. During this year and a half, my monthly visits to the bank seemed completely natural and unquestionable to me. Even though any normal person in my place wouldn't first ask themselves where their money was coming from. My father's bank account. Maybe, but this explanation only raised new questions. Perhaps I was just afraid to think about it and learn the truth, or break my once established lifestyle. Maybe not the best one, limping with both legs, but without any turmoil or disturbances. And with Himitsu. I was sitting there, dazed for an hour. Oh my god, sorry guys. I was sitting there, dazed for an hour, but eventually began to come to my senses. It was time to call Ichinose again. He had told me that I shouldn't trouble him for anything insignificant, but my life wasn't insignificant. And I couldn't survive in this world of victorious capitalism and Japanese economic miracles without money. You don't need money, bro. Trust me, you don't need fucking anything. You just need a rope, soap, and a high tree. And you're good. I basically sprinted in my house, grabbed the receiver and dialed the number from memory with shaking hands. The dial tone seemed to continue forever, my heart managing to beat multiple times every second. No reply. I called again. And again. But with no success. Alright, I needed to calm down. Maybe they just went out to do some shopping. Yeah, I guess they did. After all, they need to eat something. I looked at the clock. It was 1 o'clock. A good time to buy some groceries. Groceries, goddammit. When I had nothing to eat myself. I furiously kicked the nightstand. I wanted to hit my phone, but instantly realized that if I broke it, I would have no money to buy a new one. My situation was getting more and more serious. Why didn't they just kill me? It would be easier for everyone, including me, I guess. Besides, Maslow was right with his hierarchy. My stomach growled and I realized if I didn't do something, then the breakfast made of the remains of Catherine's shopping would become my last meal for today. You deserve it. You deserve it. But who could I ask for advice or help? I dialed Ichinose's nephew's number again and again. Nobody responded. I recalled an old film in which a policeman was interrogating a suspect. A tiny, poorly lit room, a little table in the middle of it, and a dim lamp with a white shade drawing in clouds of cigarette smoke. The detective with his sleeves rolled leaned up the table and asked the suspect, "How did you end up here?" The film was probably made in 50s. The actor's profile seemed to be carved out of stone. Big noses, wide, strong-willed foreheads, eyebrows pulled together, and plastered, swept back hair. I imagined myself on the other end of the table. "How did you end up here, Nikolai?" Out of all the people I knew, Ryusoki-san seemed to resemble the detective the most. Just like last night, I was seized by a fit of nervous laughter. Okay, now things definitely couldn't get worse. My brain started to work feverishly. Kagame was the only person who could know more about my situation. I ran out of my house and hurried to school, hoping that I could make it. On my way to school, I was desperately trying to recall how many classes we were supposed to have today, but the lack of oxygen was making blood pulsate in my head, and it was hard to focus. Someone might find a catty irony in the fact that my last hope was Kagome. Not Stanley Kubrick's kind irony, but rather Albert Hitchcock's painful sarcasm. Finally, I saw the school around the corner and stopped, completely exhausted. Groups of students were walking down the street and I recognized a few classmates, which meant that classes were over already. With one last push, I virtually flew through the gates. Oh, and came face to face with Kagome. At least I was lucky with something. You. I was wheezing, desperately sucking air through my mouth. "Have you gone totally mad?" Kagome hissed, took me by the arm and pulled me aside. "You're exactly the person I need," I finally articulated. "We need to talk." "Well, not here. Why not?" "Nothing. Let's go." She abruptly jerked her head in the direction of the school gates and gave me a harsh look. Ayawura walked fast and I was barely managing to keep up, exhausted from the long run. Sometime later we found ourselves in a trade district. "Let's go to a cafe?" she asked seemingly casually. "Yeah, why not?" I wanted to agree, but immediately interrupted myself. "I can't really, got no money, that's part of my problem." Kagame looked at me closely as if studying me, testing my reactions to stimuli like a lab rat. "You seem a bit different today." "Different?" "Well, more polite, I guess." She was clearly about to get angry but smiled instead. "Looks like you really have something to say." We stopped by an electronics shop. Just recently I wanted to buy a new TV, but I've been too stingy to. And what had happened to that stinginess now when I was choked with hunger? It was doubly unpleasant to realize that the things normally available to me just yesterday had become a luxury. "Well, I'm listening. I hope you aren't going to ask me to lend you some money." No. "Well, definitely not you," I thought to myself. "Have you found out anything new about our case?" "Our case?" Kagame's loud laughter sounded somewhat unnatural. "Since when do we have any cases in common?" "You know what I'm talking about." "Maybe, but I've already solved my problem, and without your help. Do note." "Solved? How?" I froze, dumbfounded. "Doesn't matter, it's none of your business, and never was." It seemed that there was a fight happening inside of her, whenever she shouldn't tell me more. But in the end, Kagame looked at me, and her eyes became cold and focused. "Try to understand, I'm in a desperate situation, and it's getting worse by the day." "What do I have to do with it? How have you helped me? How much have you told me? Actually, I fucking helped her in the very beginning of the game when we punched those people." "I've told you everything I know." Although, of course, that was a lie. And it made me feel even worse. If I had treated Kagame differently in the past, who knows? "You don't even believe what you're saying. I can see it in your eyes." "Oh, so you're your mind reader now." I snapped at her. "Well, nothing to talk about then." She sang and turned away, preparing to leave. "Wait," I said loudly and grabbed her by hand. Kagame started to shake. "Don't touch me," she said quietly, but didn't try to break free. "Sorry, I just have nobody else to turn to, it's true." "I believe that," she replied quietly with her back turned to me. "But it doesn't change anything. I couldn't help you even if I wanted to." My arms fell impotently, and this time I didn't stop her. Bye. Yes, I fucking feel the end. I was slowly walking home, and when passing the school building, I saw Michael. The light of hope once again lit in the darkness of my life. Michael! He stopped and looked at me emotionlessly. Hi! Ah, hi! See, motherfucker? Like before, when he had money, when he had like everything, he was like, whatever. But when he got into trouble, he immediately started to respect everyone and be very nice to people. I don't know. I want to dump that character. I don't know how to fucking dump Nico. I greeted him a bit too enthusiastically. Coming closer, Michael merely nodded slightly. You're a bit late today. There is something I needed to discuss with the teachers. I see. Did you want to talk about something? Yeah, you see, I got a problem. My bank transaction got delayed and... I was lying shamelessly. Could you lend me some money just until Monday and then I'm going to handle it? Oh my god, then he goes the worst path. Start lending money, starting to getting a debt. He's done. Nothing serious, just a little hitch so to say. Michael gave me somewhat supercilious look. You know, there's a thing. There's the thing. If you want to lose friends, give them money. Just straightforward. Like, he's already have no friends, but right now he's gonna lose literally everyone. Don't you think you're asking the wrong person? Oh, nice, Michael's my dude. I don't need much. 10,000 yen would do. I don't remember how much 10,000 yen in like in the 80s, 90s. Right now it's not a lot for sure. I wouldn't love to see this fervor when I needed something from you. Catherine. Her again. Michael clearly had a crush on her, and I had been more or less telling him to fuck off at the smallest hint on the conversation on the topic. Yeah, I'm sorry, that wasn't really, I mean, I understand how I acted, I wasn't good, but it's a really extreme situation, bro. On Michael's thing, if I would be a Michael, I would just like fucking say, I'm not your bro. Michael seemed to even wince at my bro. Nick. He sighed eventually and closed his eyes wearily. I will not lend you money. I just need... And I will not apologize for that. I hope you understand why. My stomach seemed to drop and I felt as I grew smaller. Okay, do you know if Koyosuke is still at school? He left with the others around an hour ago, which meant that he was home by now. Although it was equally possible he could be at the arcades or at manga store. Well, don't hold a grudge. See ya. I walked past him and waved my hand without looking back. Naturally, I was pissed at Michael. Kagome, with all her problems, was one thing. After all, her father had been kidnapped. But Michael and 10,000 yen, I was barely a sum for him. Well, for me, it would be enough to live another week. Again, with his stupid principles and straightforwardness. I could understand that at all. First, he needed a kiss off in regards to Catherine and green light. Nothing more than that. And now what was that? Revenge? It was too banal and rude for a person like him. Okay, there was an education element in all this, but that was even worse. Wanted to teach me a lesson, freak? I clenched my fists so hard that they became blue and ground my teeth. Yeah, break your bones. Fucker, and immediately I felt disgusted with myself. I was ready to break the face of one of my new few friends for a lousy 10,000 yen? To hell with Catherine, and everything that had happened recently. Is this really what I've become? On my own, without any help from others. It was that period in Tokyo's weather when the season really started to stand apart from summer. Just a couple of weeks ago, 4 o'clock wouldn't be the middle of the afternoon, but now I could feel the evening approach. My only salvation was Koyosuke, so I reluctantly walked to his place. My rodent friend lived really close to our school. I wouldn't be surprised if that hadn't been the case. I could imagine Koyosuke jostling in a crowd train carriage every day. His family lived in a relatively elite apartment complex by local standards. His mother was a housewife, while his father was some kind of government official. They weren't the richest family at our school and definitely no match for the Kobayashi clan, but that was one of the things I liked about Koyosuke. Oh, nice. Finally some new picture, right? 10 minutes later, I was sitting in his room with a cup of tea courteously offered by his mom. As it often happens, she was setting me as an example of Kuyosoki, sincerely believing that I was more hardworking and generally better socially adapted. What a naive woman. Kuyosoki himself naturally always reacted painfully to these comparisons but never blamed me for them. His room looked like the lair of a true otaku. Posters on the walls, manga and videotapes on the shelves. Despite the fact that his mother cleaned her regularly, nothing seemed to be in order.
Hi there, what are we going to do?
We're going to finish this mess. Well, finally he has nothing, no money, and hopefully very soon we're gonna finish this game, guys. So thank you very much for watching until the very end. Please join the channel, subscribe on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. In the description down below will be playlist with this game. Thank you very much and we'll see you next episode.